felt low, felt dirty, useless, felt like a failure.
The last 12 months, I've got to say, never experienced it before, has been pretty stressful.
What's the point of me getting up and having a smile on my face and bouncing around and trying to promote something every day when I'm not sure where I'm going to be sleeping? It's really hard.
You spend your time wandering about, kind of in a bit of a daze really, because it kind of hits you so hard when everything changes so suddenly. You can't believe kind of that you're in that situation.
Very difficult, very tough out there. And it's like you get really scared every day of what it's going to be.
I was with my ex-partner for about 12 years and we had a kid, and then about a year after that the relationship started to break down. Because we had a joint mortgage and family home, I couldn't really take anything away from that, so I left with my ex-partner and the kid with the home and everything in the house. So from pretty much that day, I was then homeless.
I was unhappy in my relationship. I was beaten for 8 years of my life. We wasn't getting on. So I decided to get out of the relationship pretty quick.
I've been unemployed now for over 12 months. I was made redundant. Coincided with split up with my family.
My girlfriend ran off with my best friend and took my daughter, and basically I made a couple of silly decisions in life, took the wrong path, and I ended up in prison. And when I was in prison, obviously I couldn't pay my rent on my flat, which I had, and when I was released from prison, I got released onto the street with £5 in my pocket and nowhere to go.
I'd just come out of a very bad relationship and my mum had fell ill, so I went to stay with my mum to look after her, and unfortunately she passed away. And because I wasn't actually supposed to be there because it was her flat, I was thrown out, had nowhere to go, and I slept on the streets.
My mother died, and about 2 months after that my stepfather decided to kick me out, and that's it.
That's it. And how long have you been living on the streets now then?
For about 1.5 years, 2 years.
How did you become homeless?
Yeah.
Alcoholism.
You're an alcoholic?
I'm a registered alcoholic.
I could drink a small bottle of cider. One
day?
Yeah.
Throughout the day, is it?
Yeah, throughout the day.
You know, I can't blame it all on circumstances or other people, because it's me that opens the can, it's me that buys the beer, and it's me that drinks it. Maybe sometimes in my mind I could think about the past and then open a bottle and drink it with anger for my memories.
Where did you wake up?
In the car park.
Okay. So where's your place, Martha?
Just where those things are.
That's your pit there, your pillows?
Yes, yes.
And how do you sleep underneath there?
Just get underneath and...
You don't have any sheets?
No, that's all I've got there.
In 2003, I had it all. My own flat, my own little kingdom basically. Had a lovely girlfriend, had my daughter in my life, you know, I had all my friends around me.
So I was used to having money, and then to have none and live, it was really difficult.
as I had a good job and I had my own place and no worries, no financial worries. But now that all that's changed.
You feel like you're not part of normal society, where like people look down on you. You're kind of like the dregs.
Your self-esteem takes a knock, your confidence takes a knock.
It's a nightmare. I went from having, a good job and a good home and everything, and when you go to work and you've got your home life in the evening, it fills up your every day. Well, all of a sudden I was then resorted to, not being able to go to sleep until whoever's house I was at went to sleep. You feel a bit like you're putting on people. You just don't want to sit around in someone's house all day. So then you'll go out and spend your time sitting in the park or walking around, and you're really at a loose end. 24 hours a day.
You got the depression along with that as well, that's going to come with it anyway, automatically, I would have thought, with most people,
I spent a lot of the time just sitting on a park bench, kind of thinking and sort of trying to work out what on earth I was going to do.
And where are you living now?
Here.
On this seat?
Yes. Until the police evict me.
What do you want?
I want a house.
That's it, simple. You want your house?
Well, not a house. A flat. A room.
Yeah, well, all of a sudden you find yourself not seeing people, not being in touch with the same people you'd see. And I used to lead quite a busy social life, and we'd having a family home, we'd quite often have friends around, or people would pop in and see you. Well, all of a sudden, people either don't know where you are from night to night, or you're at someone's house and you can't just invite people around, to socialise and to visit. It's not your place to do so.
A lot of people, although they call themselves your friends and they're there for you, when things like that really go badly wrong, they don't want to help, they don't want to know, and kind of you find yourself lost and on your own, basically. Kind of pride kind of kicks in a little bit. You don't want to go to a family member and say, can you help me? Because you feel embarrassed that you're in such a bad situation.
Fortunately, I've got still a good network of friends that I keep in contact with in the business I used to be in. But you tend to find that you shut down because you've got very little to say to them on that purely day-to-day basis.
When people say, well, walk past and say, well, look at her, I think to myself, if you didn't have a house or a job and you were in the same situation, how would you feel?
You're very sober.
Yes.
I thought Sue's a bit more drunk than you.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
No, Sue's a bit more happier.
Is she? What? You're a bit
How do
happier.
you decipher drunk?
You seem a bit wobbly.
So how do you say I'm wobbly when you haven't even seen me walking?
It's because of your speech.
So? So I've got a speech impediment.
No.
And you say that I'm drunk.
A bit.
Now go away, I don't like you. Now, with the camera.
Unfortunately, the period when I was actually out, I think I had about 98 pence in my pocket.
You spend more just being out there on the streets.
No, you're living from day to day and you're supposed to live off £60 a week. And that stops you getting a place or a deposit on a place or anything like that, so you're totally stuffed.
You've got to do the system, you've got to understand what they're there for with you, and again, for the help that they give you, it's still down to you as an individual to get something out of it.
Oh, they're just a nightmare. You helped me feel out the forms and everything months ago. No cooker, no heating, no fridge, no nothing. Having to still eat out if it weren't for like dens.
But I found that there wasn't much help out there when I was actually released from prison. Bang my head against the wall, really, sort of like a revolving door. You come out of prison, when you know you haven't got anywhere to live. A lot of ex-cons would like to go back to prison because they know that they've got a bed and they've got, 2 meals a day. So, that's where they feel safe.
was never been in this situation before, so I didn't know what help was out there.
It was only through, I started chatting to someone and they told me about the day centre. I wandered up there and I was really scared to go in there at first, but I'm glad I did.
We run a day centre here, which is somewhere where people can come and have a free meal.
I could eat here, shower here, because I never had no electricity, and the company and that, and so it cut down on drinking and everything, so my life is actually better, not financially or nothing, but spiritually it is.
I've been living in a shed for 5 weeks. I just got up one day and I thought, I've had enough of this. I can't live like this no more, you know. And I didn't even know about this place, Dens. Obviously I found out about it at the day centre in Watford. They made a phone call for me and thank God that there was a place here. For a long time I used to walk down the street with my head to the ground. Since I've been here, I'm actually walking down the street with my head held high, and that makes me feel good inside, you know.
Most councils regard homelessness as a statutory definition, and homelessness is someone who is sleeping rough, i.e. sleeping under the open sky. They don't even count people who are in tents, and that doesn't square with our experience at all, because of course homeless people, there are all sorts of different homeless people. There are people who are sleeping on friends' sofas, there are people who are living in their cars, there are people who are staying in temporary accommodation like night shelters, and those figures aren't necessarily showing up on government figures.
If it wasn't for a group like Rent Aid, I mean, I really can't see where I'd have been. I'd have still been on the same sofas today with no prospects.
Yeah. The front door key for the front door, and then that's the door key for this front door. For this front door.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Decorum Rent Aid helps homeless people by paying rent in advance for them and giving a guarantee to cover loss or damage in a property.
Being here now in my own flat, well, tonight for the first night I've got my child coming to stay with me tonight, and it also means now I've got somewhere to hang a shirt and a tie. Now I can look at getting back into a professional job. Rent Aid have absolutely done me spectacular. But even with that little ray of light, it's amazing how much it changes your outlook on the next day.
Touch wood, next week I'm probably going to get a place of my own through Rent Aid and through the help of Dens, so fingers crossed.
I see the future very bright now, because I can look inside myself and I know who I am and what I want to do.
I do feel like I can move on.
If I find a job, it'll be alright. If I find a place to live, it'll be okay. But at the moment it looks pretty grim, doesn't it? So in a week's time I could be living on the streets.
I'm trying to live a day at a time, so my future is just to get through today without upsetting no one, hurting no one.
I've got to be positive. Even if it doesn't happen, I still think every day that I'm going to get my life back in order.
And what about your future, Marcel? How do you see your future?
Hopefully it'll get better.
Yeah? I mean, what would you like ideally to happen? Would you like a room or a flat, or how do you see yourself, say, in a year's time?
Hopefully I could have like a room or a flat or something.
How's your life when it's pouring with rain like this?
Sitting on an empty market, like always.
At Dens we have quite a lot of people come in who have great need, alcoholics, drug addicts, people with addiction issues, or maybe mental health issues, or problems in their past which they can't quite get over. And these people tend to, not be ready to receive the help that we can offer them. We have people who use the day centre who are drinking a lot, and because of the amount they are drinking, they can't sustain themselves in a night shelter environment.
How was your night?
Good.
Hey?
Alright.
It was alright, was it? Do you remember the other night when you got angry with me? Oh, you got angry with me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Why not give people £1,000 or £1,500 that they can pay back over a year to get a job? Like in my job, I can get a driving job, as I said, tomorrow with that amount of money. And other people could start up a company.
There's a lot of people in prison that shouldn't be in prison. That's where poverty can start. You know, when you enter prison, you get a criminal record. You know, that's the start of a downfall for a lot of gentlemen, a lot of blokes, women and men. Stupid crimes that they shouldn't be in prison for. They could actually deal with them in a way that they could maybe give them to community service.
I would like to see organisations like the Council and Social Services and other agencies working much more closely together. I would like to see better training of staff in these places so that they can recognise when someone's perhaps struggling and not understanding things and spend a little bit more time with those people.
Don't brush under the carpet, because it won't go away. And people do need help for whatever circumstances.
When you're looking down on people, just make sure you're trying to help them up.